Just as a quick update for you, there you can see all 24 plants are in the ground. You'll see I've left a gap in the middle there because frankly I wasn't up to the acrobatics to reach it, but they're all in the ground, just need watering in and then we're sorted. Welcome to another allotment diary. Well, over the weekend it appears summer's disappeared and autumn's arrived with rather a lot of force. We're getting the tail end of a hurricane, I believe, and there's another storm due later in the week. So we've woken up today to find rain, and you can see dark clouds, though there is patches of blue sky breaking through. So can't grumble too much, I must admit. It's okay. It's not as warm as it has been. It's still about 16 degrees, so it's warm enough to garden without a coat on. So can't grumble, and I've got plenty to get on with today. Now it stops raining. Now, quick show you around, let you see what has been going on since we were last here. Right, now, since we were last here, I finished laying paths between there and there. I've also laid a path down the end here and mostly cleared that bed. There's just that little tiny bit in the corner there that I need to clear, which I'll probably do a bit later on. Unfortunately, last week I quite simply couldn't manage doing that. My back was way too sore. But what I have done is I've got a path all the way down here now, so if I step back out the way, you can see the path goes all the way down there, and then if we look over there, you can see in front of the shed that was heavy weeds is now a nice pathed area. So if I just go back a bit, careful not to kill myself on my wheelbarrow, you can see that the allotment is actually starting to take shape. Now looking there, it's looking reasonable, isn't it? It's looking good. All those beds are clear. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14 beds. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 beds there. They're all clear. They're all ready to be planted in. Some of them are covered, others I'll get around to covering. But I haven't covered some of them because they're still breaking down manure, so they're likely to stay uncovered just to let the manure and soil break down so it becomes ready for planting next year. So that is all looking absolutely fantastic. I'm really pleased with that. It's been a lot of work, and you know, digging these paths out have been really hard. These paths here I've dug out properly. I've gone down a good fork's depth. I've taken out all the weeds, all the roots and everything else, and believe me, there was an awful lot of those. The comfrey roots, that's comfrey growing over there, they go down a foot and a half, sometimes more. They're absolutely massive, and they're really difficult to get out. They're very brittle as well, so they keep breaking. But you can see that this is one of the comfrey roots, and it's absolutely massive. And that's one of the smaller ones. I've taken out various docks as well that have been 2 feet deep. And I got a dandelion out from over there on Friday, and it was 2 feet long. It was absolutely massive. I've never seen one so big. So that's come out. What I've done is clear down here. Again, this is the path between the plots, but it's a source of weeds coming into the raised beds. So whilst I haven't wanted to do it properly, I have actually done this pretty well. But what I found is about a foot. You've got about a foot of soil there, and then after that there's this plastic stuff. So it's doubled over. It's quite thick, and it's got a centimetre of soil on top of it. So unfortunately, it's obviously been there quite a few years. And what I found is you've got couch grass growing under it, on top of it, and even through it. So that's been quite difficult to sort of dig out. What I've done is I've actually left that in place. And on this path here, the one that's between the two plots, between mine and sort of my neighbours, what I've done is I've lifted the soil, dug out all the roots, and then what I've done is I've sprayed weed killer on the ground. I've removed all the worms first because the worms obviously don't like weed killer, but I've sprayed weed killer, given it sort of 15-20 minutes to dry. Then I put this weed membrane down on top of it, and that's gone on top of the plastic where the plastic's there, and then I put an inch or so of bark, and you can see, you know, it's looking a lot tidier. Having done that, it makes the whole plot looks an awful lot tidier, so I'm really pleased with that. But down here again, this was huge amounts of weeds, and I've cleared it, and it's going down there again. I haven't gone into as much depth digging here, but because of where it is, and it's not going to affect the beds as much. But what I have done is I've done the weed killer, weed suppression, and then in places, because this slopes down like that, in places along here the bark is actually about 3 inches thick. So my approach to this is going to be, if weeds grow, out with a weed killer. But one advantage of it is, having done this, it looks like I've actually encouraged my neighbours to come and take care of some of their bushes, because there was dandelion brambles, and you can see one of them there, see how big that is, coming all the way across here and growing all over. So it was actually quite difficult to get down this path, and they've come down, and they've very kindly, and I really do appreciate it, it's cleared a lot of the stuff off of this side, which is great. So what the plan is for now is, I've got some other work to do, but I want to take this path all the way down to the road, which is where it's meant to be, and then that's clear, and that's going to look really good. So they've done a fantastic job over here, clearing the weeds back and everything else. So I really appreciate that. And again, you know, they've obviously seen I've made an effort over here, and thought, well, they better do the same, which is lovely. And it's a big part of owning an allotment is, you know, you may not see each other, but you do work together and help each other out there. So that's really helped, having this clear. It's going to make my life an awful lot easier. But down here, I've sprayed down there, so all that needs now is that ripping up. I'm not going to dig too deep down there. It's going to get a cursory turn, pull out, and that should really be it there, I think. And then again, it's going to have bark all under the potting table there, all down the side. Get to the far end and get to here, we've got flagstones, and there's flagstones I think right to the path. So all this is going to get cleared, but I've had other things that needed working on first. But you can see I took the decision last week, because the weather was nice. I took the decision to paint the shed and paint the potting table, because they desperately needed it basically, and I figured all the weather forecasts are for a bad winter. It'd been dry for a couple of days, a good few days, so the water, the shed had time to dry out, as did the table. So I've given it a good coat of paint. It's had sort of 3 or 4 days of dry weather to soak in, so that'll hopefully protect the shed. I've done the door as well, which had never been treated, and I ran out of enthusiasm partway through doing the inside of the door. But on the bright side, that should be okay. But I've noticed there's some huge gaps in the shed up there, so it's not exactly waterproof, or draft proof, but it'll be fine. As I said, it's painted, it looks good, and you know, part of owning an allotment is keeping the committee happy, because you know, at the end of the day, the allotment committee can send you a note if your allotment's too overgrown, slap your wrists, and the worst case is they will throw you off the allotments if it gets really bad. And you know, by painting the shed and by have done all this here, it's made my allotment look very much neater. They can see there's some real progress happening. And last week I got an email from the allotment committee. I've obviously been here 3 months, I hadn't realised, but you have a 3-month probation, and if they feel after 3 months you haven't done enough work, you're not done a good enough job, then they fling you out basically, and they say, no, sorry, you can't keep your allotment. But I had an email from them last week saying, you've done a really good job, we're really pleased, we're happy to offer you the allotment on a continuing basis. So this is mine now for as long as I want it, providing obviously I stick to the rules and keep it tidy. Letting it get too overgrown is obviously going to cause problems. But you can see as well, there's another path down the middle here. So on this side is one neighbour, on that side is another. And this neighbour here, again, I'm assuming, I've not met them, but I'm assuming they've seen that I've done a lot of work over here and thought, oh dear, he's making us look bad, and they've cleared a lot of the stuff along here as well between the plots. So that's really, really good. So by taking that down, it all looks a lot tidier. So it's coming along. There's just this bit here to rip up and put a path in. So that might get tackled today, depending on how the weather stays. There's that bit there that needs digging, and then I need to put a path in along here, and then they need paths down the side there. Once that's done, these raised beds are pretty much finished, and there isn't much more to do with them, so I'm quite pleased with that. So it's still quite a bit of work, particularly along there, because unfortunately along these places here where it's not been done for a long time, it's hard to say. You put your fork in and you go to turn the soil, and you almost give yourself a hernia because it's that difficult to lift the fork due to the amount of couch grass in the soil. It is absolutely ridiculous. I can honestly say I've never seen so many, and they're really thick weeds. If I was growing those, I would have a championship winning crop, but unfortunately, as far as I'm aware, it's pretty useless. But there is a lot of it, so it's going to be quite hard work digging all that. What I have done, I can't see any effect yet, but I did go over and spray all of this area last week. Whether it's actually going to kill anything off, I don't know. It might need a second spray, but I took the decision. I don't like using weed killer, but I took the decision that I needed to get it down manageable, because like this, it's going to be really, really hard work to dig. And if I use the weed killer now in the autumn, by the time I plant, it should have all come out of the soil and broken down. All the stuff I use does break down with contact with the soil anyway, but I just want to be really, really sure. So hopefully this will start to die off, and then the plan will be to put raised beds in over there. But what I did last week, whilst the weather was lovely, I thought to myself, oh, you know what, it's a good time to plant some autumn plants, ready for some winter and get a winter crop. So I bought myself some of these, and let me just open it for you. These are plug plants from Sutton Seeds. They're good place to get them from, and frankly I've been so busy desperately trying to clear the allotment that I haven't had the opportunity to get any seeds in. So I have ordered these. I did try ordering some broccoli, but for some reason they sent me a load of double cauliflower, so don't quite know what's happening there. But these are cauliflower. It's a variety called F1 Sapporo, which is an autumn variety. So it goes in the ground now, and then by sort of a couple of months' time, by Christmas, it'll be ready, and I can pick it. So I'm quite excited about those. So these are going to go in the ground today. Because of the size cauliflower grows, they'll be spaced about a foot apart to give them plenty of room to grow. I know when you put them in and they're this small, you look at them and go, well, that just looks ridiculous. But when they grow, you then think, oh, I'm really pleased I did that. So again, these are very simple to plant. What I will probably do is plant it so about there is under the soil. Just put it in, cover it over, and now the soil on these raised beds is very, very, very loose. Ooh, almost fell backward off my raised bed then. That wouldn't have been good. But the soil's very loose, so obviously I don't stand on it. So what I need to do is I need to make sure I firm it plenty around. You can see there how much I can push the soil down. I need to firm it plenty around the young plants, because obviously it's going to need the support with winter coming, high winds, rain, all those things that plants obviously don't like. I need to give them plenty of support. So about a foot would be about there. again, just dig it out, just grab another one. There we are. And you can see a couple of yellowed leaves, they can just come off, they're not a trouble. Pull it in there, and again, just firm it down. Like that, nice and firm, give it the support it needs. Now, plug plants are really useful. As I said, it saved me a lot of trouble, it's quick and easy, I can get them in the ground today, and then I'm sorted. I've got my cauliflower. I was going to order some cabbage as well. I saw a great pack of cabbage, but I thought, to be fair, no one in the family really likes cabbage, and buying, much as I love the thought of filling my beds with plants, buying 24 cabbage plants and then planting them isn't really going to get me anywhere, because no one's going to eat them. I know you can make cabbage soup and you can do this, that and the other, but frankly I think 24 cabbages is a little bit excessive, to be honest with you. I think that's far too many for one person to eat, and I don't think any of the rest of my family would really appreciate me bringing cabbage home. The kids certainly wouldn't eat it, but then what child does eat cabbage? So I've got 24 of these in all, which is rather nice. So as I said, I don't know what happened to the broccoli I ordered, whether that's going to come separately, but it looks like 2, 4, I'm going to get about 5 in a row. So 5, 75, I should easily be able to get them in, because I've got 24, 5 in a row, and I reckon 5 rows, that'd be 25 plants, so that will fit. There'll be one gap, and I'll go back onto the Sutton Seeds website later on and see if I can get myself some broccoli or something else just to fill some of the beds. I was looking at things like, I've planted winter onions. I was thinking of planting some winter broad beans, but again I sort of thought about it and then thought, well, nobody really likes broad beans, so again, not much point me planting broad beans, because no one's going to eat them, and I'll end up with a freezer full of broad beans that I'm going to spend months trying to eat. So I took the executive decision, 1, 2, 3, of not planting them, which I think every allotment owner has to sort of make those decisions, really, because at the end of the day, if you're not going to use it, what's the point spending the time growing it? No, it's a stick, and that's a dead snail. So yeah, so we've got 5 across, 5 down this way, and then it'll be 5 rows of 5. So that fits quite nicely. I'm going to have to do a little bit of acrobatics to get into the middle there, unfortunately, but it's one of those things. I'm not too worried about that. I'll cope. Basically, looking around the beds as well, this one's still breaking down the manure. I'm turning it fairly regularly. You can see a few weeds in there, needs a turn, but I'll do that later on. All the nice weather last week, by the way, I don't know if you noticed on yours, but my strawberries have come into flower again, and you can see some flowers over here, and you can even see the remains of a strawberry there that was obviously enjoyed by some slug, annoyingly enough, because but the strawberries are doing well. I need to pot up all the runners, but again, I'll do that at some point. Haven't really got time for that at the moment, but it's all looking good. And yes, I know autumn's coming, and there's still plenty for you to do at your allotment. You can order some winter veg, get it in the ground. You can prepare the soil for next year. Now's the time to start digging it over, get your manure and compost in, turn your compost heap, perhaps even with weather like this, cover it so that obviously it doesn't get too wet, too soggy, and that's going to help it break down. And just generally do those odd jobs that you need to tidy your allotment. One of the jobs for perhaps later in the week when it's raining is I've got to tidy my shed out. my shed, probably like everyone else's that's watching this, you come in, plant your shed, put everything in your shed, and over the sort of growing season when you're really busy digging and everything else, things just get thrown in your shed and left there, and it isn't too long before you suddenly realise, hang on, it's a real mess, I can't find anything. So mine just needs organising, sorting out a bit, and then it'll be fine. What I may well do is I might look for beds like this, some of these beds. I might look at getting some pelleted chicken manure, throwing some of that on it, and that will help again break everything down and get some more nutrients into the soil. I am going to look for seaweed extract, because I've been recommended to use that as it's very high in micronutrients. So I think between all of that, I'm going to really feed up the beds, really prepare the soil, so that next year when I come to plant these all out, they're going to be really, really good quality soil. It's already good, I'm already very pleased with the soil, but I just want to make sure it's got all the nutrients in it ready for the growing season next year. So I'm going to go and get these planted. Hopefully I'm going to avoid the rain. Fortunately it is stopped, and hopefully it will stay stopped, and I will be able to get these in the ground and maybe putter around a bit more, get a few other things done. So not sure how much I'm going to get done, but I'll get what I can done, and I'll upload this shortly, and I will talk to you very soon.